Well, hello and welcome to Friday Coffee Talk, a new feature that I'm just going to do just as an experiment to see how it goes. And with me today, I have a very special guest, youngest member of my family, and the first member of the first generation to grow up with generative AI. He just turned 2 this fall, as did ChatGPT, turned 2 November 30th. So I figured he would be a good expert to talk to on such matters of how generative AI is going to impact his generation. Also, full disclosure, every time I include him in the video, numbers go way up. So he's home from daycare today due to a schedule change at daycare. As the fate would have it, I have plenty of PTO to go through. So, and very little time to use it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to hang out with the kids. I'm going to do some fun stuff. We're going to get some coffee. We're going to get some coffee and we'll talk, right? Oh, you want my coffee? Don't worry, it's empty. Okay. So he was very talkative in the virtual green room, but today he's rather quiet. Yesterday I kind of did a live stream real quick on the importance of not having a single point of failure in your architecture and designs. And as luck would have it as well, yes, I know the lighting conditions are not ideal, but he was having a nice little breakfast. What did you have for breakfast? Yeah. Look at him. He's just chowing down on that Starbucks cup. And if you're just joining, my name's Frank Lavinia. And don't worry, it's completely empty. You can catch me at the following URLs. Datadriven.tv, franksworld.com, and impactquantum.com. And I think a few more URLs I'm going to be working on over the Christmas break coming up. But and you can catch me on the socials at Frank Diggs Data. The other thing I wanted to point out was, what are you doing? Yeah. So what do you think? What's your opinion of AI and how it's going to impact the economy as you enter the workforce in, I don't know, 18, 16 years? Yeah. So in all seriousness, though, I do wonder what it's going to look like for his generation. So one of the things that I talked about this before, but was the idea that my oldest, he's really like the iPad generation, right? Like we're the touchscreen generation. I had everything to him was a touchscreen. So if he went to a screen and it didn't react to touch, to him it was broken. In fact, when he was about this age, he would touch the TV in the main living room, and he would say broken, which is an interesting kind of statement. Now, my middle child is going to be the I would call it the Alexa Siri generation, right? He was able to type and have conversations before he can read or write, just because he was able to talk through Siri. He also leaned pretty heavily on Alexa. And I say her name quietly because I don't want to activate the device that's over there. But basically, he would say, Alexa, what's the weather, right? Or, just to figure out how we should dress for the day. Was it going to be hot? Was it going to be cold, right? To the point where at one point we'd be in the car and he would say, Alexa, what's the weather? Or, Alexa, and ask her the question. And yes, if you're wondering, they did discover the Fart app, and yes, that was an interesting week. Now his generation is really, is really the first to, I don't want to say feel the effects of, but really kind of just see generative AI as just part of the woodwork, right? Nothing special, nothing unique, just it's always been there. And I wonder what that is going to do. Now, recently on franksworld.com, I had highlighted well, apparently I didn't post it live yet. But there was an interesting story about how there's a new from the guy that did Khan Academy. Oh, I love the foam. Can you not mess with my foam? I know, I like the foam. It's also gonna make a giant mess, but okay. Anyway, he loves it too. Look at this. He created a chatbot or an AI agent that will help transform education, which I think is really something that one, it's long overdue, because if you look at the classroom from when I was a kid, from with the exception of laptops for my children to what my grandparents would have had as kids, really largely you couldn't tell the difference. Yet the economies and the world that we live in, the jobs that we have to face are radically different, right? I mean, over 100 years ago, just about 100 years ago, actually, where the switch went from kind of factory workers in city environments from, thousands of years of agrarian economy. It was about a century ago, a little longer than a century. Yeah, he is pointing out, I can speak fluent, baby. Yeah. And he is pointing out that the Industrial Revolution did kind of start this process in the 1800s, but it really kicked off in a high gear at the turn of the 1900s. Is that correct? Okay. So thank you for that correction. Please don't corrupt me, one of those fact checkers. In any case, I think Notebook LM really has this potential here where you can feed it information and it can summarize it. It can even come up with that audio guide, right? So not only will this help just learners in general, I think it also helps people learn in ways that maybe the traditional education system does not help with, right? The different styles of learning, whether it's kinesthetic, which is basically fancy way of saying physical, auditory, or visual, right? I think that the visual learners tend to be the majority of the population. And well, hello. And there may also be scenarios where, yes, what do you need, big guy? Oh, you want more food? Okay. I haven't heated that up yet, right? Oh, here, this has been heated up. There you go. So, which the needs of these kind of edge cases are not really being met. I don't think they're really being met to the degree that they need to be. And I think that AI offers an opportunity that you can, create this Notebook LM alone, right, has serious potential in education, right? You have the ability to input a whole, PDF textbook or website or just news, anything, right? And you can go through and you can ask it questions. You can chat with it. Now, if you're in the LLM space, this isn't really news to you, right? But again, Notebook LM, yeah, that's what's called. The URL is notebooklm.google, I think, like that. Just search for it. Has the serious potential of improving, I think, education outcomes, right? So you feed it all the source material. You can listen to a podcast about it, right? They make that kind of that two-person podcast where they go through stuff. Very insightful. Sometimes they'll even come up with ideas I hadn't thought of, right? So I'll feed it stuff. I'll feed it transcripts of data-driven podcast, right? Comes up with stuff. My co-author and I fed it copies of the book, and it came up with stuff that's going to be that we kind of talked about. Like, this should really be in the second. Uh-oh. Don't worry, folks, it didn't break. This should really be in the second edition. Speaking of which, oh man, I need to edit that price. So it's definitely cheaper than this. I think it's $12.97 for the print one now and $9.99 for the Kindle version. So definitely go check it out. But, it's just, I see it as a multifaceted learning tool, brainstorming tool, right? So let's stick on the topic of education. So you could, if you're struggling with a topic, you can have an AI, whether it's this new one from Khan Academy. Yeah, you like Khan Academy? But this is the type of stuff I wish I had as a kid, because there's some just concepts that are just hard to get your head around, right? Whether it's long division, whether it's fractions or going all the way up to calculus, right? And integrals and things like that. That's stuff that there's a myth, I think, that people, you either get it right away or you don't. And there are people like that. God bless them, right? They see it the first time and they get it. But that's not the majority of the population. Most people are not going to understand something like that as soon as they see it. Most people will fall along a bell curve where they have to do it a few times. One of the biggest myths, I think, in mathematics education is that if you don't get it right away, you'll never get it. And I think that's a big mistake. It does students an injustice, does the field of mathematics an injustice, and ultimately all of society an injustice. How many people out there who could do this wouldn't take to it the first go around, myself included? When I first took calculus, it really hurt my head. I did not like it. I didn't do well, but I did persevere and get into it and understand it better. It was only trigonometry and algebra that I got right away, right? But in any case, if I had a tool like Notebook LM or some kind of AI agent where I could say, I can actually chat with it. I'm really struggling with this concept. Can you help explain it to me? And I can have this interactive kind of conversation with it. And that is something that I don't think people realize that you get as part of Notebook LM, right? You can actually chat with the document. And I know there's plenty of other technologies to do something very similar. There's anything LLM. There's tons of things you can do. You can even upload a PDF or something into ChatGPT. Does the same thing, right? It's not unique to it. What is unique to Notebook LM is that audio experience, but I think it's also very enriching, particularly if there's someone who likes, if you're an auditory learner, or you're always on the go. You got a little one, you got this, you got to drive them around to different places. It's very helpful to have that ability. And thank you for scanning the QR code. I see the ticker go up on that. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, you're going to spill your milk all over yourself? Come on. Hey, what happened to the Starbucks cup, dude? Yeah. So I look at the future of AI in terms of education with really positive expectations. And I think that, and I know, if any of my kids have trouble in school, obviously as an AI engineer, AI practitioner, whatever the cool term is these days, I'm going to leverage everything I got. In fact, I already have yes. What do you need? I already have my own private server downstairs that I've basically copied off of Network Chuck, although not for far less price and money. Yeah. Okay. You want to? Okay. Let's give this to the dogs, the leftovers. Okay. And let's get you out of this. Do you want to go in this, or do you want to show the people how you can scoot yourself across the room in your high chair? No, you went out. All right, so he may not let me stream much longer. Oh, you want to plug yourself back in? So this is a new thing. I'll unstrap him. He'll plug himself back in, and then he's trying to figure out how to get himself out of it, which I'm okay with him not learning that anytime soon. But in any case, I am pretty optimistic about the future of education. I think that the real question is that will school systems adopt this, right? And eventually they do adopt technology. I know, laptops in the classrooms were once considered, kind of cutting edge. Now that largely Chromebooks, cheap Windows laptops are largely pretty common. I would also add that there's a enormous opportunity to use AI in here. Now, AI is not cheap right now. There's a lot of ethics, privacy concern. The list goes on and on. But I think the ability to interact with course materials in conjunction with having a teacher, I think is crucial. I think it's critical. I don't think it's going to replace teachers, but it's definitely going to, I think, ease the load on it, right? Where if I can, if I have a question about something in the middle of the night, right, or not in the middle of the night, well, I do, but that's just me being me. I think there's an interesting opportunity here for education to be truly transformed. And again, I think Khan Academy getting in on the AI space is a natural move. And I also think that other mechanisms. Now, someone told me, I think it was last week, I was up in Boston. Apparently, there is. I haven't looked at this yet, but there is a open source version or replicant formula or whatever it is to run Notebook LM kind of on your own hardware and your own environment. I think that has enormous potential too for education, content creators, right? So I don't know. Maybe Santa will gift me a new server. I don't know. I don't know if I've been that good this year, but I definitely would love to explore that. And that's something that is on my list of things to do. Is that the ability to just, here's my transcript, write a promo for it, right? Do a promo video. In fact, I already do some of that with Bailey. And there's also some other interesting things I kind of have like different pieces and parts of, which, again, not strictly education related, but it is tangential to it. Plus, I also think that one of the things we're overlooking in education. Oh, you're going to give me a scare? Are you doing that? Is the notion of workforce education and adult retraining, right? As AI displaces workers, there's an opportunity for folks to learn a new skill, learn a new trade, learn a new craft, whatever we're calling it now. And I hope that this time we won't have that blanket statement of learn the code. Coal miners should learn the code, right? Which I thought was very insensitive to displaced workers, right? Learn the code. Just learn the code, right? It was definitely a very... there were some undertones to that that people didn't pick up on. People saying it didn't pick up on. Everyone else did. Everyone else in the room did. But not that learning code is a bad thing. I think learning code is a good thing. It's a good skill to have. When people ask me, should I still learn the code? And I say, yeah, I think you should, because it's a good skill to have. Helps you think things through. Just like writing, actually. Like when you have an idea, they're kind of like these random kind of neuron fireworks. But when you're forced to sit down, write it, even if it's just come up with an outline or a sketch of what you want to write about, that helps formulate your thoughts, right? It gives you structure to your thoughts. And we live in a world that is basically distraction driven. We have a distraction economy. And if you are able to hold your thoughts together, whether that's in words or in code, your ideas together, that is very helpful. And what you don't see, dear viewers, is the dog is now getting in on this. He wants to get on the stream. There we go. We're turning the cuteness up on the stream to 11. Now you have something to say. How do you think AI is going to impact dogs? Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to replace you with a robot dog. Don't worry. I would like a robot dog. That would be kind of cool. Maybe he could chase you when you run off and chase after deer in the yard. So with that, I'm reading the room here, speaking of reading the room, and it is very clear that I will no longer be allowed to stream. Do you have any final thoughts, sir? No? He's like, talk to my agent, man. Talk to my agent. You don't have permission to use my likeness, right? Is that what you're going to say? All right. Well, thank you for the scans on the QR code. Check out the book. Hello. Okay. Don't replace your dog with a robot. Right? Is there anything else you want to add? Are you jealous I gave him a chance to say a final word and not you? Okay. Any final thoughts, sir? No. Okay. Well, with that in mind, I am going to let him out and enjoy my time hanging out with my two youngest kids. Yeah. Oh, you're giving him a hug. Oh, that's cute. Oh, you love your puppies. All right. Have a good day, everyone. And let me know what you think in the comments below, what you think about Coffee Talk. And any topics, if you want to be a guest on my Friday Coffee Talk, let me know. And yeah, I have to stop this before this gets chaotic. You have a fantastic day. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And that's all I got.